Okay, so I'm still defending this event causal libertarianism as a view on free will, which says that we need to have indeterminism in order for there to be free will, but our mind functions as a normal causal process. And there were three main objections to that view. The first was the disappearing agent, and the second was the regress problem, and we've looked at these two in previous videos, but now we're looking at the third main objection, which is the problem of luck. And that objection says that everything we are and do is strongly influenced by luck or bad luck, which is beyond our control. So in order for you to become you, certain people had to meet, and then there was this mix of genes, and there were lots of small coincidences that could have happened and maybe give you some physical challenges or mental challenges. Small things could make you have a higher IQ or lower IQ, etc. And then you're born into the world in a particular context, and it has a lot to say. What is your family? Who becomes your friends? Where do you live? Go to school? How's the job market? Do other people apply for the same job as you, etc.? There are so many coincidences, random events, luck and bad luck that influences who you are, who you become, what you do, what you choose, what you want, etc. And so the argument is then that given this large role of luck and bad luck, it's wrong to think that we have free will. Free will seems to presuppose that we have this control, we can influence and determine what the future is supposed to become. But the objection and the problem of luck is meant to be an objection against all theories of free will, not just libertarianism, also compatibilism. Even if the world is determined, it's a matter of luck or bad luck that your life was determined this way, and your life was determined that way. So this is meant then as a general objection against all theories of free will. And to this objection then, I have three responses. And they're not three different responses, they all fit together. And the first one is that we do, in practice, and we should do, take luck into account. So first of all then, we should think that, or we should check that people have this normal capacity for feeling and thinking. If they don't, then we shouldn't hold them responsible to the same degree as we do with others. And even if they have done a normal capacity for thinking and feeling, it could be that some people have a good environment, they're taught a lot of things in an empathic way, etc., and others are not. And so we also try to take that into account and give people time so that the effect of luck and bad luck can cancel out over time. That even if people are born in different contexts and some are luckier than others, and we think that when a certain period of time ago, when people become adult, or usually around 15, is when we think that people can be held responsible, also legally. Then we think that you have had enough time to think and feel and make experiences and understand sort of basic things that are right and wrong. But maybe even that hasn't happened because maybe you were raised in a sect doing a lot of brainwashing, etc. So, or had these horrible circumstances when you grew up, and even that we can take into account then, and that's also done in court, etc. That you can hold people less responsible if we know that they have been in a very specific context where it's been difficult to develop as an independent person. Now, you could object then, of course, that we do not know, even if we in general do this, we don't know when we meet people in the street, etc. How does your brain work and what has been your context, how lucky have you been, etc. So we don't know exactly how much blame you deserve or how much praise you deserve, and that could be a problem if you had this desert view on responsibility. But I defend this consequentialist view of responsibility, where the intention in any case is to try to help people form their moral character and become better persons. So it doesn't matter if someone has more or less free will or has had more or less luck, because the intention is to help you to get more free will and to become more responsible by showing you that, well, these alternatives are better than these alternatives, etc. So, for instance, let's say you grew up in a family where everybody was just talking in each other's mouth, just jumping in and demanding their time to speak and demanding attention. Then you come into a new context and you continue your normal pattern, but someone blames you and holds you responsible, say you should give other people space and let them talk, etc. And so you become aware, okay, so this is an alternative way of acting. You become aware of a new alternative, new reasons to act in new ways, and so you can decide that, oh, well, I want to do this from now on. And so then you would become more independent because yourself has influenced new and later choices, and so you have grown in free will, and I would say grown in independence, and then we can also hold you more responsible. You have become a freer person. Or maybe someone has a brain that makes them more susceptible to being aggressive and maybe using violence, but then the consequentialist could say, well, the dissert view might say, well, then we shouldn't keep you that responsible for being violent because it's more difficult for you not to be violent. But the consequentialist can say, well, now it's extra important that we hold you responsible, that we blame you and praise you when you don't use violence, to help you then control this and become a more responsible and a better person. So it's not a tough problem that people are different if you have this consequentialist view of responsibility. And so you can say, well, we don't know what kind of degree of free will people have. We don't know how lucky or unlucky they have been, and that's true. And it would have been a problem if my theory said everybody has the same degree of free will, everybody has the same degree of responsibility, and many people say that. But I say that people have different degrees of free will and different degrees of responsibility. And so even if we don't know if Jack has more free will than Elizabeth, etc., or vice versa, that doesn't matter, because the theory just says that it's true that people have different degree of free will, and that can be true even if we don't know what specific individuals, to what degree of free will and responsibility they have. So that was my responses to the objection of luck, and what I've done now then is to present and defend this view of event causal libertarianism on free will, and I've explained how we can be the source of our own choices by this autobiographical self forming itself over time. And then I'll answer the main three objections. And maybe you think they aren't perfect, but then that's a challenge then for any theory of free will. You have to defend it, and by answering all the different objections to it, and then find out which theory is the best. And I think that this is the way to defend the largest degree of free will, a theory that is coherent and says that we have quite much free will, even if it's also limited in many ways. There are then also other objections and questions that a theory of free will should answer, and we are going to look at that in the next two videos, starting with the first one on weakness of will.